The Gourmet Gladiator. Chapter 13. Toby and the Shrink. As my eyes opened, I saw that the sun was gone and the moon was in its stead. I was still outside as the others were moving furniture and cutting windows into the building. I looked around and didn't see Roxy or Harold anywhere near me. Just Charles, who was sitting by my side looking up at the others working. "How come you're not up there helping them, Charles?" I ask as I turn over and look at him. "Because you did all the work just by yourself. And still I don't know how. But I'm proud of you, so I waited to tell you that," he states as he looks up at the building. The windows just got done. The others were so happy to begin furnishing the inside with stools and tables and booths. Jax was happy to see that the plumbing was up and working. "So what in all did we build?" I ask as I lean back on the ground. Charles looks at me and smiles before looking back at the building. "What you just built is a 4-story soup kitchen. And thanks to you getting done way ahead of schedule, Harold had to pull his hair out just to get the rest of the materials here to get it done today." I and Charles lightly chuckle at the thought of it. "So where is Roxy right now?" I ask as I gaze up at the beauty of the building I made. I had a sense of pride that I never felt before. I proved that I was useful, and on top of that I proved that Harold was wrong. She drove away with Harold to some other place. She told me that you messed up one door at the top of the building, so she has to leave to get it fixed or whatever. But the face she had didn't look too thrilled to leave with Harold," Charles says as he puts his gaze down at the ground. I look back at him with one of my eyebrows raised. "Why do you say something like that? Did you hear something between them two or what?" I ask with a concerned expression on my face as I scoot closer to Charles. "Listen, boy. I don't know what exactly is going on. But Roxy never seemed so upset to leave us with another man. I worry that he might be taking advantage of the little girl." Charles looks at me and with a coy smile continues to talk in a sorrowful tone. "But you shouldn't press any further into my wild accusations. You did well today. You should go up and claim a room before others fill it first." Charles looks back at the ground. My chest felt heavy as I stood up and walked towards the building. I keep looking back at him for whatever reason. "I hope he's all right," I question underneath my breath. The sound of chattering and the aura that was coming from inside was nice and merry. Nothing seems like it could go wrong in here as the people shuffle around with chairs and sears and mattresses. The bottom floor had tables and stools with a counter in the shape of an awl separating the commons area from the kitchen in the back. There were stairs that lead up to the second story. No breaks or cracks as I walk up them. As I got on the second floor, there were 5 rooms along with another staircase at the other end of the hall. There were numbers carved above the doors from 1 to 5. I walk over and knock on door number 1. I heard the shuffling of feet as someone walked over towards the door. The door opens wide and a female with huge glasses and torn green clothes bursts out and grabs my hand. I was caught off guard as the woman shook my hand vigorously. "Oh my, it's you. Thank you so much for all your hard work. You're very talented," she shouts in excitement as she makes my whole body shake along with my hand. "Nice to meet you as well," I say in a jaggedy voice as I get shaken like a bottle of soda. "What brings you here to this room?" she asks as she stops shaking my hand and takes up in both of hers. Her red hair was messy and her teeth were black. Her voice was sweet like candy, but I felt so much pity towards her. "Oh, I was just looking for a room to stay in. I was just making sure this one wasn't occupied," I say nervously as I begin to notice my hand becoming more clammy. "Dearie, you don't have to knock. I'm always here if you need me. Name's Miranda. But you can call me Mandy," she says with a big white smile that sends shivers down my back. I felt weird. "Oh, and sorry, but me and 4 others are in this room. We're afraid that there is just no more room to put another bed," she says with a frown on her face as she looks down at her hands enveloping mine. I didn't know what more to do or say, so I just covered her top hand with mine and looked at her with a smile on my face. "That's fine, man. I think I'm going to check out the other rooms. Have a pleasant night," I say kindly as I wait for her to let go of my hands. "Well, make sure you get your rest," she states as she finally lets go and steps back into her room, closing the door behind her. I let out a sigh as I walked over to door number 2. I put my ear up against it and was happy to hear nothing. I opened the door and upon seeing 4 grown men sleeping with the lights off, I slowly closed the door. That's great. I'm just going to guess that the second story and third story are already taken. I'll just go up top and see who has claimed the rooms up there, I quietly say to myself. I made my way up the next 2 flights of stairs, and upon reaching the last floor I saw that there were only 2 rooms. On without a door. I walked over towards the door on the right and saw a note on it. Room reserved for 3, was written on it that I read out loud to myself. Must be Roxy, Luke, and Charles's room. I turn around and knock on the door to the left. No footsteps I could hear were present. So I twist the knob of the door and open it. Nothing much was inside. 4 beds and 1 closet. I stepped inside and fell on the bed closest to the door. I couldn't help but just barely flop on the nice and comfy bed. Totally beats the floor by all means. I flip over on my back and stare up towards the roof. It was wooden and brown. I kept thinking about Randall and Rebecca. They both seem to think that I'm a villain of some sort. Yet the people here all appreciate me and are thankful for what I have done. It puts a smile on my face knowing that just within the first couple weeks of having these powers I have gone through so many changes. I'm practically part of a gang that aims to be the top. And now I'm with people that don't know me but instead worship me. A frown adorns itself on my face as I remember my old fat and ugly face and body. So flabby and fat. It was disgusting to remember. I could be that right now and the world would only be worse for myself and these people here. Tears form in my eyes at the thought of being trapped in that body again. I don't want to be like that again, I say out loud to myself sorrowfully. I'm guessing you just got your powers, huh? I lift my head to the gelation and look around the room. It was a female's voice, but I couldn't see who it was coming from. Yeah, I question, I say as I raise my eyebrow in confusion. Well, that explains a lot. Because people, once they get their powers, usually leave the home and go straight to work. But I'm guessing you're here because you just couldn't cut it emotionally. Her tone was nonchalant about the whole subject she was about to unfold. No, I'm here because I'm too violent in other settings. Like a school setting perhaps. Her question made me look under my bed only to see nothing. Where are you? I ask as I stand up and search the room. You're not going to find me. I'm afraid of what you'll do when you find me. But let's get back to questioning, why don't we? I went back over and sat on my bed. Sorry, but this is quite frankly freaking me out. But if we can maybe talk face to face, that would help me. Okay, so why did you run away from home? I slowly shift my body straight up as I look at the wall. Because love was not a thing that I was receiving. And before you ask, I don't want to go to school because I have more enemies than not there. I lay my head down on my pillow as I look up at the ceiling. Some sort of shrink or something. Yeah, I guess you could call me that. Because of my power I became one, but the military wanted more from me. And when I said no, Tada, I'm homeless. So anyhow, I want to ask you why you just suddenly exploded into these lines of actions. Her tone was kind when she asked. Listen, I know the statistics and that when people get their powers they don't just go off on a rampage of change and anger. I also know that it is actually still rare for a kid my age to drop out and choose to not live at their house. Because now, with only the very old not having powers, everyone in this world has some sort of ability or another. People before my time were very worried about how it would affect the teens, and there were more positives than there were negatives, to everyone's surprise. The history on it is weird and bland to tell. But I was valedictorian to be in my class. So you're quite smart. Then you must know what makes you the odd percentage of kids that acted out once they received their abilities. Yeah, I have a guess or two. But I'm thankful more than anything. I didn't like who I was, and now I can easily just walk through life. My goal is to be top chef. My smile returns, but the thought of Kingsley saying that I'm still fat on the inside returns to mind. What a big goal. And obviously you're powerful. Why is it that you want to be top chef? Because of the love that would be attached to such a title. Everyone would look at me and respect me. I ponder in silence for a second or two. May I ask a question? Go ahead. Sir, I also know that fat people still exist, even though there are plenty of ways to get rid of it now. Especially with technology at its best right now. But how come even when a fat person gets the power to become skinny or change their weight, they still go back to their original form? Like, I guess the question is, why would a person go back to being ugly by choice if they have the option to be better? There was a pause for a minute. Well, my thinking might be a little different than yours, but maybe because what one person sees as ugly, another person sees as beautiful. Not everyone sees a sunflower or rose and thinks that those flowers are pretty. So when they have the ability to change into a better them, but don't, it's probably because they accepted their own definition of beauty and stayed as they are. But all in all, I think your real question is, if you changed into a better looking person with such ability as yours, then how is it possible that there are people that hate you? Am I right? A puzzled expression makes it on my face as I ponder and take in what she said. How come even though I've changed to the best me, people still treat me as if I was the old me? Because you either didn't change as much as you think, or you changed into something more than you realize. Zensenariku.
Sorry for the little hiccup there in the middle. The AI just decided not to work. But that was chapter 13. Toby and the shrink. Anyways, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.